Hey, and we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Tool Belt, episode 278. I'm your host, Ty Cobb-Backer. Thank you for joining us again on this Wednesday edition of Beyond the Tool Belt. Today, we have another special guest. Stay tuned after our short intro from our sponsors.
T-Cobb-Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. T-Cobb-Backer.
Welcome to Behind the Tool Belt, where the stories are bold, the conversations are real, and the insights come to you live, raw, and uncut. Every week, host Ty Cobb-Backer sits down to bring you the stories, the struggles, the lessons learned, and the wins. No filters, no scripts, just the truth. Please welcome your host of Behind the Tool Belt, Ty Cobb-Backer.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Tool Belt, everybody. The podcast where we dive into the minds of the industry leaders who are changing the game in construction, contracting, and beyond. Today, we have another amazing guest, my brother from another mother, Eric O. How you doing, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. I'm completely and totally beside myself right now, and I'm super excited to have you on the show today for a couple different reasons. One, because I love you and you're my friend.
I love you too.
Truly, my friend. And we were just talking about the sum of earlier before we got on here. Vic and I were talking about the sum of. We are the sum of who we surround ourselves, right? And really, at the end of the day, you're one of those 5 people that has impacted me. And in turn, I'm able to impact other people. So directly and indirectly, you're impacting people because through me. And because of you, I get to do that. So I'm super excited to have you on the show. And the other reason is because of your first book launch. And we better be the first podcast that you're on to promote your book.
You are.
Okay, good.
Yeah, after the release.
After the release. Oh,
yes.
Okay, I guess that matters.
I think I did one. You know what? I don't know if I did. I don't know if I did anything beforehand. I don't know if anybody wanted me on. So yeah, no, I think you are.
Okay, good. So how did the release?
First of all, hold on. Before we even fucking get into that, first thing that I got to say is how goddamn rugged and sexy you look right now.
Well, thank you.
I'm loving this.
Okay.
Yes, I'm loving this. Like, I would take you home with that. Like, that's a win. I'm all in on that. I don't give a fuck what Janice said. Like, you keep that. That makes you look confident and authoritative.
I love it. She loves it. That's why I'm doing it. Really.
Good. All right. Own it. I just want you to know.
Okay.
You look sexy as shit. So now more about me. Let's talk more about me now.
I like that though. I'd rather stay on that. No, I'm just kidding. But
all right. What was your question?
Yeah. Well, having it, congratulations, man. You just launched your first book. How does it officially feel to call yourself a published author? So,
technically this is my third book.
Oh, yes.
Right. So like I wrote those other 2 books, but they were roofing books and they were for clients to educate clients, but they were still books. Right. So like I had been through a process of writing a book before, but this was completely different to your point, right? This one was way more personal. And it's not a personal book, right? It's not hey, let me tell you my story and blah, 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 right? Like there are true business and personal things that like you will get out of this book that you can instantly implement into your life and into your company, right? But there is also, I correlate that with anecdotal stories to show how it benefits, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of me in this book, right? Like there is a lot of me in the lessons and in the stories and everything like that. So in that regard, it was very different because I was putting a lot of opinions in the book as well, which is going to make people love me or hate me when it comes, when they get it. And what I decided was that that's exactly what I want. I want people to either be attracted or pushed away, because everybody is not for me. And I am not for everybody. And I'm okay with that. Right. I'm totally okay with that. But I think as a human, we immediately default into like, I need everybody to like me. I need everybody to, you don't get anything done that way. Right. Because then all you're hearing is just so much noise. Right. And so I'm really cool. I'm really happy with that. I'm really proud of this. I did put a lot of time and sweat and tears and everything into it. And I hope that it resonates with people. And I just hope that it impacts people, right? Like, I am not going to get rich because I wrote this fucking book, right? I'm not going to fucking make a bunch of money on royalties and blah, blah, blah. Like, that was never my goal. I have other goals of that. My coach asked me, you know, what would it look like? Like, you need to come up with something to decide how would this be a success, right? Because it's not monetary for me on that. And so I was influenced so much when I heard Ed Milet speak the first time, with the story about his dad and all that kind of stuff. And so I made the benchmark that if Ed happened to read my book, that he would say that it was good enough to have me on his show to discuss the concepts in the book. And then that would be the win. So never going to happen, but that's what I'm shooting for, right? That type of impact, that if it impacts someone like him to be able to impact even more humans, then I won.
Yeah, no, that's such a good goal too. And you never know, it might happen, because I know you, and I know that you've poured your heart and soul into this book. Like you said, it's not a roofing book necessarily.
There's nothing about roofing in it.
Yeah, there's some of your stories. I haven't fully read it yet, but I've listened to you enough to know what the book is about. The book is on the way. I think I should have it tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah, it usually takes a couple days.
Yeah, you can go on Amazon and get it, but no, it's not a lofty goal. I think it's, one of our goals here is to get John Maxwell on our podcast, and we've planted the seed, and he didn't say no. So that was kind of a little mini win that he didn't say no. There was a few things that he would like to see me be a little more involved with, which now he kind of flipped it back to me. So, of course, I'm dragging my feet because it's work. It's kind of a work thing that I have to work on personally and professionally to be more involved with the foundation and things like that. So, but it's goals. We got to set goals, whether they're big, hairy, audacious goals or not. We have to set something very high, at least for high performing people like ourselves, because if not, then we find a cop out, right? Like, well, but the buts, and it's like, nah, screw it. Let's just go for the gusto of it. But let's start from the beginning, man. Like, what inspired you to write this book? Was there a moment or a story that sparked all this?
Well, you know how it is when, like, you've got pasts like we do, right? Mm-hmm. Every time you meet somebody and you tell them 3 of your stories, they're like, God damn, you should write a book. And it's like, man, if you only knew half of it, we'd probably get rearrested just by announcing the things that we've done in our lives. And so, like, that seed always got planted, right? And then we go to all these events, and I see other people that have written books, and I look at them and I'm like, really? Like, I'm like, you did, like, why couldn't I? And when I finally did the real moment of inspiration, to answer the question, is when I got to do my full keynote at RoofCon in 22 or whatever that was. And we had a pretty full room when I did it, right? Mm-hmm. There was a lot of people there. And the feedback that I got after that, and the people that came up to me and talked to me, and the impact that I had in that one moment made me realize that I have to do something else to be able to take that information that I gave on stage, which there's, part of that is in the book, right? Talking about the team method and all those things. I need to figure out how to get that to more people, right? And yes, I want to speak more. I want to be on more stages. I want to be able to present this to large groups of humans to be able to impact them and help them as well. But I was like, I need to put pen to paper as well, because the only way to truly find those hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that you want to be able to help change their lives is, I think, through this medium, right? And then selfishly, I'll be honest, like the other reason that I did it was because of the fact that, like I said, I do want to have an opportunity to be on more stages, to talk to more people. And this is like a degree. Mm-hmm. And once you put pen to paper and you show that you're actually you're willing to put the work in to do this thing, that's like getting your degree in school to be able to get the job, right? And I knew that I needed to do something to get my degree so that I could go to people and be like, hey, this is why I'm qualified, right? And so it's all a build, right? It's all a build, but I just, at the end of the day, man, like it all comes from the recovery space that we're in. Like, I just want to be able to help more people. And I don't have time to sit down and do this with 1,000 people, right? Yeah. I've got businesses to run. I've got a lot of shit going on, right? I've got CCM, I've got Exhale, I've got all these things. And it's like, I don't have time to do the thing that I really want to do and help other people. But if I can put this out, then maybe I can, right? But that's really that's a large part of the inspiration. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was great for sure. And I think some of us that are kind of in this space, want to achieve what you're talking about. And I think it's an amazing idea, and I've heard the same thing too, after people have heard my story, they're like, you should write a book, and it's like, boy, if you only really knew the truth, not the true story, but I'm usually giving them the sugar-coated version of it just because I'm afraid I might get locked up.
Well, they can't fucking it's Jack Nicholson. They can't handle the truth. Yeah. Like fucking yes. Like most people cannot handle the real Ty and the real Eric from those years.
Yeah, for
sure.
They
just can't. We'll just keep that boxed up.
Yeah.
A little fucking lock on it.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? That the truth? So who did you write this book for? Obviously you did it, not for yourself, but like who were you aiming at when you were throwing this dart out there?
So my first thought is that I wrote it for me 15 years ago. Okay. Because as an introvert, as a natural introvert, nobody thinks of that of either of us. Cause I think that, tell me if I'm wrong, but like, are you naturally an introvert as well? Absolutely. Yeah. But when people look at us and see us here on stages talking and leading and all that, they're like, they assume that like we revel in that, right? Now this is different because like this is one-on-one. When I'm on a stage and if I spoke to 10,000 people, to me, that's still having one conversation with one person, right? But you put me in a group of people and like my fucking nerves go through the roof, right? And like, I am terrible at just walking up and being like, hi, I'm Eric. What's your name? Will you be my friend? Like fucking, I hate that shit. Absolutely hate it. I just brain farted. Where was I going? What was the question?
You were talking about being an introvert, but who did you write the book for?
So I wrote it for me. Mm-hmm. I wrote it in theory for me 15 years ago of who I was, because I know that there's so many people that are in that place that I was at 15 years ago of trying to figure out who I was. How do I lead people? How do I connect? Right. Because the subtitle of the book is Stop Talking and Start Connecting. Mm-hmm. And I tell this story in the book, but when I was on a retreat with my coach and he was hypnotizing me for 3 days, every day he was asking me the question of like, what do you want? 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 And every day I was like, I don't fucking know, Clay. I don't know what I fucking want. Stop asking me the goddamn question. And he's like, I have to ask the question. That's why you're here. And I'm like, well, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. And on the last day, after all of the shit that he was doing to me, I had this poof epiphany of, I want connection.
Mhm.
And I was like, and I just didn't know how to do that. And that was what spurred the team method of trust and empathy and authenticity and meaning, and like truly using those core principles and values and like how I operate with other people. I learned that if I do those things and if I shut the fuck up and listen,
Mhm.
that's how I make those connections. And I know that there's a ton of people out in the world that are trying to lead other people and trying to lead teams and trying to lead other humans and trying to be better at home. And they don't know how to do it, but they know that they want to do it. Right. They know that they want to do it. They're like, what the fuck? Like, what do I need to do differently? And that was always me. I always wanted to be better. And I always wanted to figure out how to do different things so that people wanted to be around me. Right. Because I always felt alone. Right. And that's what I put in the book. So, I mean, in my mind, that's everybody. Right.
Mhm.
There's that small percentage of people that like, they just got it figured out.
Yeah.
Right. And if you got it figured out, you don't need my book or anybody else's book. You got it fucking figured out. Right. Those people, no, but everybody else that has ever felt alone in business or alone at home, right, felt like they were the only people in the office or the only people in their house. They couldn't talk to anybody, but they didn't understand why. That's who it's for.
Mhm. Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. Would you say that's the one message or lesson from the book that you would hope every reader walks away with?
Which one? The connection?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the overall theme.
Okay.
Right? That's the overall theme of the book. But I mean, it breaks down it. I have a whole chapter on doing what you say you're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Because people don't do that anymore. Right? They do whatever benefits them. And there used to be a thing called your word. Right? I mean, how many old Westerns do we watch? Right? Where they're like, the only thing that I have is my word. Nobody gives a shit about that anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what has declined society as a whole, because we've forgotten about how important that was. Right. Nobody really lives by that anymore. They're like, well, yeah, I said that, but like it's changed. It's like, no, motherfucker, you said that this is what you were going to do. Right. I said I was going to pay this guy this thing, and this is what we agreed to, regardless of what they did or didn't do. I fucking said that this is what I was going to do. So all I have is my word. And the minute that people don't believe me anymore, I've lost everything. So like there's a whole chapter on that as well. But that leads to the base of it still of connection, right? Mm-hmm. So the overall theme is the connection. And if you ever feel like you're not able to connect with people and you can't figure out why, this is kind of a blueprint on how to do that.
I love it. I love it. No, I love that so much. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to reading this book. So would you say that, you know, did you draw from your experience, in the roofing leadership or speaking, you know, with all of your experiences? I guess I'm just trying to tie this question all together here. Yeah. You know, how much of the Eric entrepreneur made it into this book?
Quite a bit. It's kind of a mesh of my recovery and how I integrated that also into my business and into my life, right? The lessons and the principles that I learned from, you know, doing the steps and, mm-hmm. and how I integrate that kind of into my life. It's not directly talked about, mm-hmm. but it's indirectly talked about. Right. So that, cause I didn't want to scare anybody with, you know, any of that. Right. I didn't want anybody to think it was an AA book, but like I run my business and my life based off of the principles, you know, mm-hmm. of AA. So like, it's obviously going to bleed, you know, into that. Right. Of course. And so like, I don't know if that answers the question, but like that's what I'm trying to, yes. My business side of it, like the Eric entrepreneur is 100% in there, but also are the stories of my past that show how, here's how I was, here's how I am now. And this is how I got there. And this is how I'm going to continue to grow, because I'm not done. Right. I love that. I'm not done until I'm done.
Right.
which could be tomorrow, and it could be fucking 40 years from now.
What do you think the hardest part of the book was writing? And what do you think was the most inspiring part? So 2-part question. What was the hardest part? Was it digging into your personal stuff? And not necessarily writing the book, but was there a moment where it was just kind of like, man, I don't know if I should put that in there or not, or I'm going to, because I really feel like this is going to impact somebody's life?
So there's one part in the book that I toned down that has to do with organized religion. And I toned it down a little bit because I didn't want to push too many people away that couldn't read it without feeling attacked.
Yeah.
Because that was never the intention of the book. But what I go into, that was the part where this would have been published probably 2 months ago. And I sat for like 2 months rewriting literally like 2 paragraphs. That's it, of the book, because I didn't want it to be misunderstood, because I was really worried about people misunderstanding what I was trying to say, because people always think that it's about them. And it's not. And the premise of it all is that we all live off a base, off a set of beliefs, right? And that's how we operate our lives. And that's great. But what I believe is that a belief is just that. It's a belief, and it's an opinion. And it is not my job to fucking tell you what your belief should be, right? It is not my job to tell you that you should believe in this thing, right? My job is to, not even my job, but my job is to empathize with the fact that you have this belief and to try and understand where you're coming from, just so I can understand you better as a human, right? And then maybe you care enough about me to care enough to ask why I believe what I believe. But at the end of the day, they are fucking opinions. They're all opinions. They're all guesses and beliefs that we all have. There's 800 quote unquote religions in the world, right? And it's pretty fucking arrogant to assume that yours is the only truth. I just think that's fucking arrogant, right? I know there's people watching this that are going to, you motherfucker, you're going to hell and whatever. Like, fine. Okay, cool. Am I going to your hell, or am I going to mine, or like who, what, like what? It's all a set of beliefs, right? And that was the thing that I struggled with, because I know that there are people that follow me that are going to quote unquote disagree, right? But at the end of the day, we all live off a set of opinions, right? And things that we have decided to believe in and have faith in and whatever. And that, and we need to have those things, right? And for me, it's thank God for AA, because AA gave me permission to believe in what I wanted to believe and not have to subscribe to what you do, right? I don't have to fucking subscribe to that, because that's what everybody gets scared about coming into, a recovery system. There's like, oh, I have to believe what Johnny believes, or I'm never going to be able to get sober, and, blah, 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 blah. And this isn't a sobriety book, just so everybody knows, right? This is just how I've lived. And so I struggle with that because I didn't want to push people away. I didn't want people to misunderstand, right? If they truly read what I wrote, none of it is offensive whatsoever, unless you choose to take it as being offensive. That's on you. If you read something and you're like, I'm offended, you fucking chose to be offended. You have a belief, I have a belief. Fuck you and your offense. I'm offended, right? It's ridiculous. You're the one that made the choice to be offended. So that was the struggle that I had. But the top of that paragraph says, fuck it. This is my book. I can write whatever I want, and people can either like it or they don't. Right. The other struggle that I had was that the title and the fact that I do speak in the book as I speak is like, I wrote it. There's no fucking AI. There's no bullshit in here. Like, I wrote the fucking book, right? So when you read it, you will hear me. And my publishers were concerned about it and they're like, oh, we have to bleep this out and block this out and do all this stuff. And they're like, or we can't get it published on so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. right? I don't care. Hold on. Fucking Natalie's calling me.
Sorry, honey, I'm on a podcast.
Yeah,
right
I know. Like, yeah, she didn't care.
Yeah, Lauren tried to call me earlier too. I don't know.
Did she?
Yeah, I texted her. We're live. Maybe she fat fingered it. Probably. No, I can relate so much to what you were saying, and you know, people forcing religion and things like that and down your throat. So I can definitely see your side of it, and it doesn't make me feel any different or ill of you. And listen, I've been to church 3 times in my entire life, and at least 2 out of 3 times, if not all 3 times, I didn't even know I was going to a church service. I thought it was something else that we were doing. And of course, most of that had to do with Jana and her dad. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I listened to it, and I do believe that there is a power out there greater than myself, or else I wouldn't be standing here. And you know, and I do choose to call God, and God, you know, is a metaphor for a lot of things, a gift of desperation that I was so blessed with early on in my recovering journey, and, you know, a group of drunks, good orderly direction, all those things, you know, and I get on my knees and I pray, but I'm not 100% certain what I'm praying to all the time. You know what I mean? But I just do know, and I've seen the miracles happen in my life.
And
so
the point of all of that, though, is because I don't want to go into a whole God conversation, because that isn't the point of any of it. It's just me trying to tell people that you shouldn't be judging other people based on what they do or don't believe, whether it's politics or religion or what. Religion's just the easy one, right? Like, and that's the one that like really pokes at people. But like, whether it's religion or it's politics or it doesn't matter what it is, right? Like, I'm going to disagree with somebody on the far left fucking woke bullshit, you know, thing that I don't agree with, that I think is fucking wacky and crazy, right? It's the same thing. It's just as divisive, right? If you're talking about politics as well. But the other thing that I'm going to do is I am going to take a moment to be like, why do you believe that? Like, I'm kind of curious. Like, am I curious, right? Like, here's a better way to put it. Are you a curious person, right? Yeah. Are you a curious person to give a shit enough to be able to want to ask questions, to learn about other people and why they do the things they do, why they believe the things they believe, right? It's not about you're right or you're wrong, right? It's none of that. It's just, do I care enough about other humans to care about the fact that they do believe something, right? It's not going to change my mind necessarily. And I'm not trying to change theirs at all, right? I do not need you to believe what I believe, whether it's politics, religion, business, right? I mean, business, how I operate at home. I don't need you to believe any of that. I just need you to give a shit enough about, hey, why do you do that, right? Let's make us all question what we do and what we think, because it might open our minds up to a greater thing. Maybe not. But either way, I'm not going to hate you because of it. That's the difference. Does that make sense?
Totally.
And I think that's where the world has went to shit, because we don't ask questions and we don't care about other people. We care about what they believe.
Yeah, we're so judgmental, and we're not curious enough to understand or listen to their side of it. And this is the thing. I think the older I get, the more open-minded I am to things, because I have realized how wrong I've been on so many different topics. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like I've learned to ask a little more questions and opposed to being so judgmental, especially with the way the world is today. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of things that are going on in the world today, but I've also gotten better about not judging that person because they believe a certain way, because I've found out, like, I've liked people and I've actually loved other, you know, people, and then come to find out their belief systems, whether it's religion, politics, didn't align with mine. So why should it matter now? Because now that I found that out about them, that they might be on the left side or on the right side or whatever the case might be, why would my opinion or my feelings about them change just now because I know something like that about them? And I've recently have discovered certain things like that. And it's like, you know, we partner up with a local organization here, and I know their belief systems don't necessarily align with mine, but our mission and our goal when we partner with them is the same. So everything outside of our mission doesn't matter, right? We don't talk about it. We don't bring it up. The only thing that we talk about in the topic is what the goal is that we're trying to do. We're trying
as long as they're not hurting other people.
Yeah. And they're really not,
right.
They're really not in the way that they believe. So, I think it really has to do with maturity and keeping an open mind. And how's that there's a saying that, stay curious and not judgmental or something.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some philosopher or somebody says it or something like
and
that.
The only reason that we believe some of the things that we believe is because we were born when we were born.
Right. Right. Or
if we would have been born 500 years ago, we'd have a completely different set of beliefs.
Yes, I agree.
Right?
I agree. And it was, I think a lot of our childhood influences had impacted the way that we think today, whether it was our school teachers or our parents, and it's sad because I think we are developed with such a closed mind. Right. And then when we get old enough and we can think for ourselves, at some point in time, I think a few of us learn to open our minds and change our paradigm a little bit, or expand our paradigm, I should say, because I don't even want to look at it as if it's a paradigm shift. I want to look at it as if my paradigm has broadened,
grown,
right?
Yeah.
And I try, and I'm not perfect at it, but it's good. That's a good topic. It's a good, I'm glad you put that in there. So let's switch up here a little bit. Let's go to the other side of the spectrum. What do you think was the most rewarding part or section of the book that you found that just was like, yeah, then you just felt fulfilled after you completed that chapter or sentence or whatever?
Getting to tell people a little bit more about my grandpa. That was really, that was important to me. It was also really cool that the book got released on his birthday. And that was a total accident. That was not planned. My publishing group was like, let's do it on the 21st. And I'm like, wow. I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. But he was such an influence in my life and was literally my best friend. The person that I could talk to about anything. Like no matter how bad things got, I could always talk to him. And I've always looked for that person again. Right. Because like, you can't talk to your wife all the time about everything that you're dealing with and, whatever, like you got to keep some of that to yourself because, you just do. But having that person that you can always go to with no judgment whatsoever, you can tell them the shit, that you're embarrassed to talk about to other people. And I am who I am today because of who he was. And not a lot of people got to meet him. He died about 10 years ago. And so like on the journey that I've been on for the last 10, 12 years, not a lot of people got to meet him. And I got to tell some stories about him in the book. And I'm selfishly was just really excited for people to know who he is, a little bit better, and how he helped mold me. And I think that was really rewarding just from a selfish standpoint. So that when Tegan, maybe has this sitting on her bookshelf in 30 years, she still gets to remember Grandpa and she still gets to remember me. It's why I'm going to record the book as well, is so that when I'm dead, she can go back and she can hear me speak this, into life. And then I'm never gone, so that was the most rewarding thing for me. I
bet. I only got a couple more questions for you. Okay. I know you have,
yeah, you're good.
A hard stop here. So I guess so I started to write a book, and during this process of writing a book, of course I didn't launch it yet because I too, people were like, hey, you should write a book. So I have this running, I call it my why, and it's in my notes on my phone, my iPad. And I have these thoughts and I just put them in there. But during this process of writing this, I was inspired with a topic for another book. So is there another book when you were writing this, I guess, was there like, oh man, that would be another great book. So would you say that there was something during the process of writing this book that may inspire a second book?
Maybe, not yet. I need to really digest this. What I think will happen is I'm waiting on the feedback that I get from this book to hear what people would like to hear more about. Right. Because then I can craft something that I know impacted people. Because if they come back and they're like, dude, this chapter, man, I wish you would have wrote a whole book on that. Right. Then I can go back and do that. But like an offshoot right now, no. But I think that something will come out of this, and it's going to be based on the people that read it that come back and say, man, this changed how I do things. I wish we could have went a little bit deeper, into that. And so that's what I think will happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But I don't have a good answer for that of like, yes, it was there. Like I want it to happen organically.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And me, I get distracted so easily. So during one book, I've already written 5 books because I can't focus on the one.
Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense that, once it comes out and you get your feedback and things like that, that might inspire, one of the chapters to turn into a more detailed book. So no, that totally makes sense. And before we forget, if someone's listening who's been thinking about writing a book, what advice would you give them?
Stop talking about it.
Just do it.
I mean, I had to pull the fucking trigger. I talked about it for a while, and I met a friend, his name's Daniel Ferguson, at my golf club, at my country club here in Omaha. And we were playing golf, and he had told me, he was like, yeah, I wrote a book. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, what'd you write a book about? He's a wealth advisor. And he wrote a book, and it wasn't about wealth advising. Right. Okay. And it was that moment of like, why am I not doing this? And he gave me the contact information of this person that he worked with, right. At Game Changer Publishing. And I was like, you know what? I'll have a call with him. And then once they explained to me the process and how easy it could be if I actually did it, for me, it was paying the money, because the minute that I stroked the check, I was like, okay, I'm in, right? Now I gotta do it, right? I stroked the check. They're going to make all these deliverables, but I have to build the thing to be able to get those deliverables. And I think that if it sits off to the side and you don't make that actual commitment to, I'm doing this, I'm dedicating this much time in a day to writing or recording or however you're writing the book, you have to make the decision, and then you got to put some skin in the game, because if you don't put any skin in the game, you're just going to fiddle fuck with it for 20 years and it's never going to come to fruition.
No doubt. I agree. And that's been some of my issue. I haven't stroked that check yet, but there is a publishing company that my coach actually turned me on to. Great advice though. And before I forget, where can people get your book right now and support you? Yeah.
Amazon. I mean, that's the easiest, right? Go to Amazon, and then just search Eric Oberembt, and it'll pop right up. Shut the fuck up and listen more. Pop up right on Amazon. I'll send you guys the link to Amazon, or you can pull it up and copy it and put it in the chat there. For some reason, I can't chat in it. But just Amazon's the best way to get it. And it comes in, you can get it on Kindle. You can get a soft cover or a hard cover. I'm going to order a bunch of hard covers if people want, me to sign it or something, which sounded really fucking horrible, me just saying that. But I know that there are people that do want that. And so, I love hardcover books. Like, to me, that's what goes on your bookshelf. Right. Yeah. So that's my favorite. I like reading a real book. I've got a Kindle and I read a lot of books on that too, but like, I love having an actual hard copy book. Like, that's
me too. So Janet gives me shit all the time because I'll listen to the audio, but I also have to purchase the hard copy.
Yep.
of it. I do because I'll do both at the same time. I'll follow along in the book as I'm listening to it, especially if it's something I'm studying or I'm really want to hear more or digest more quickly. So
100%. But Amazon is the easiest place to get it.
Okay, Amazon. We'll try to put that in the comments later if we can't get to it right this second.
Yep.
One last question for you, man.
Yep, you're good.
If you could put one sentence from your book on a billboard for the whole world to see, what would it be?
Shut the fuck up and listen more. I mean, it's literally why I titled the book that. It's shut the fuck up and listen more. That all stemmed from literally, again, people coming to me in sobriety and wanting to get clean, and then sitting down in a room and they're fucking 2 days sober, and then they sit there and yap and tell me what they are going to do. And I'm like, whoa, if you fucking had all the answers, asshole, you wouldn't be sitting in this room right now. So maybe you could shut the fuck up and listen and stop talking so goddamn much. And what's interesting about that is that it correlates so much into life and business too, because in business, when you try to go into a room that you feel like maybe you don't belong in, most people start talking too goddamn much because they feel like they have to look the part, right? And if you go sit in those rooms and you watch, the people who are the quietest are usually the ones that are the smartest, and they have the most information to give, but they're waiting. They're waiting, and then they're absorbing everybody else because they're actually learning and growing. You don't learn shit by talking. You have to remember that. You don't learn anything by talking. When you talk, you're trying to impart something on someone else, right? You can only learn and you can only grow if you're listening. So if your goal is to grow and become something different, then shut the fuck up and stop talking so goddamn much and listen to other people and stop crafting your fucking answer while you're supposedly listening, right? Listen to the whole thing that they're saying, then come up with what you're going to say next, right? That's the key. And I know you and I have talked about that, on numerous occasions, but it needs to be said more and more and more and more because there's so much noise in the world and everybody wants to be heard, but nobody wants to listen anymore.
Yeah.
And so we have to listen more, because once we listen more, we can empathize more.
Yeah.
We can empathize more, and then we can start connecting more with people. Right. So, but the first step is to shut the fuck up. Just shut up and stop telling me what you're going to do.
All right.
Just shut up and listen. And then let's have a conversation that's back and forth where you're actually listening to what I have to say and I'm actually listening to what you have to say. And then we're crafting responses based off those words, not what's going on in our head while you're talking.
So true. Such great advice too. The world needs to listen more. Shut up and talk less and listen more and be open-minded, and not just shut your mouth, but shut your mind off.
Yeah.
While someone's speaking. And it's a skill. It's something that you can work on. It's something that you can
engage it differently.
Yeah.
Don't shut it off, but engage it differently, right? Get outside of you and get into them so that you can actually take in what they're saying.
Yeah. Love
right.
that.
And again, it's just another way of saying what you already said. Right. But yes, sorry. I go on rants.
That's okay. No, this today was definitely all about you, Eric. I want to do whatever I can do to support you because I know this is going to be an amazing book.
Thank you.
I am thrilled. I can't wait I'm tracking it as the minutes go by here until I get it. I do feel some kind of way that I wasn't one of the first people to have a book, but it's okay. I'll forgive you for that.
What do you mean?
But, because you didn't just send me a special copy that was signed.
I didn't get one.
Oh, you didn't get one either?
I don't know. They literally just sent me my first author copy yesterday.
Bastards.
Yeah, I know. So
yeah. Anyhow,
otherwise you would have been.
I was just busting your balls, but
I know.
Thank you so much. I know you got to get going here and you're busy. Thank you for carving out, the time to come on the show today. Congratulations, man. I can't express that enough. Congrats on the big launch of your third book, but I think this one's truly special. I can just see the passion in your eyes right now with this. And you should be very proud of yourself because I know that this isn't an easy feat to accomplish. writing a book just in itself and then being proud of it and not having any regrets.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And thank you for everybody for listening and chiming in. If you think anybody out there may get something from this podcast, please share this with them. Like, love, don't forget to subscribe we're on every single freaking platform now, even iHeartRadio. So don't forget to check us out. Share this with somebody you feel that might get something out of this. And please go on to Amazon and order yourself about 10 books, send them to Eric. He'll sign them for you. And we'll put his address in the I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But no,
put the office address. You can put the office address. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I love you, man. Thank you.
I love you too. Thanks, buddy.
Have a great day.
You too.
Yep. Bye-bye.